So hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar where we're going to talk a little bit about model-based definitions in Creo. So I've prepared a few slides for us before we will jump into Creo. So just quickly the agenda for today. So our objective for the webinar, we're going to talk about model-based definition and how we're going to document information that's necessary for manufacturing in the 3D CAD models and not in the 2D drawings. Like we would normally do. So I've prepared a few slides, our topic overview, just 2 slides on that, model-based definition, just some important configuration options, and then just a 1 slide on Creo View. So there's somebody on the line that's not muted. Okay, let's keep going. Is the sound still good for me? Can everybody hear me? Just a heads up on the questions. Just say yes, we can or not. Not sure there was something happening there. Okay, let's continue. So just a quick introduction, myself, so my name is Pierre Venter. I'm a PDSVISION / Boundary Systems technical specialist. I've been working with PTC products since about 2008, and each of the engineers at PDSVISION and Boundary Systems specialize in certain areas. So I specialize in Creo manufacturing, smart assembly for Creo, and then top-down design tools. So just a quick introduction. So we are PDSVISION USA at the moment. We're formerly known as Boundary Systems. So head office is still in Cleveland, Ohio, and then we have offices in Europe and in South Africa. So I'm situated in South Africa. Some of our major capabilities that we help our customers with is consulting, implementation services, professional training, cloud, and help desk for the PTC products and a few other products as well. I'll mention those in a different slide. So just a quick timeline on when we started and where we are at the moment. So Boundary Systems was founded in early 2006. PDSVISION Group was founded a little bit later in Sweden. And then in 2009, Boundary Systems became a preferred Winchell partner. And in 2014, Boundary Systems expanded and we started in South Africa. And then early 2018, PDSVISION Group acquires Boundary Systems, and that's why we are part of the PDSVISION Group at the moment. So some of our partners and some of the other solutions that we offer. So things like KeyShot, Moldex, 3D, Rage, the CMaxon product, ZWCAD. So those are just a few of the solutions that we offer, and obviously the big one, the PTC product range as well. So then just a quick slide on the digital thread concept. So the digital thread concept is just how communication is flowing at the moment in a manufacturing environment, and how that processes are formed. So everything is connected. If you look at the first circle, so you get all your traditional CAD simulation, CAD management, and as you grow out of that first circle, everything needs to be connected, and how information flows through that is basically what our digital thread is. With that being said, it's how information flow over certain departments as well. So that's just a slide of what information is required by planning and sales. What information is needed when you start with the design concept, and so how the information in the planning and sales stage affects the planning at the end and the services. So all of that information flows all the time through those departments, and just helping you to get products out there a lot quicker and obviously a lot better as well. Okay, so Then we go to the 2 slides that I prepared for the topic for today, the model-based definition stuff. So I think the important thing is here that with Creo parametric, the rule or the saying was also always been model-centric, and I think the model-based definition fits into that quite well, where we have one single source of truth. So if you think about it, you are designing a part, all the information is there, and then you would go and create a 2D drawing of that component. So all we're saying now, if you use model-based definition, all that information can be captured in the 3D part itself. So if you need to share information, normally at the moment you would send a step file or IGES file and the PDF of the drawing. As soon as you send that to somebody, it's not linked, even if it's in the organization or outside of the organization. As soon as you create that PDF or step file, the chances are there that you might miss some information. Okay, so why do we need model-based definitions? So 2D drawings are becoming time-consuming to create. It's not always parametric. There's always notes and bits and pieces that's not conveying the information like the designer would like to, or there's always room for error there. Okay. 2D drawings are additional assets, so it's an extra thing that you need to manage in Windchill or in other forms, like even if you're using map drives and things like, or just folder structures. I mean, there's always that. And then also moving into a more 3D world, 2D drawings, new guys learning things now might not always see drawings as with the more senior people would see those drawings. So it takes time for them to learn drawings and things like that. If you give them 3D parts, it's a little bit quicker. So managing and maintaining a single source of truth, everything in that one component, just makes it a little bit easier. And then it's also easier to communicate what's needed in the manufacturing requirements. Okay, so it's a different way of thinking about capturing information that you would normally do on a 2D sheet. Working in 3D is a little bit different. So if we go to our final slide, there's the slide that I wanted. So there's one configuration thing that's really important that's changed. So you will notice when you go to the options, there's detailed options that you can set now. So you have the same type of settings that you would have for your 2D drawings, you have now for your 3D parts as well. Things like arrow lengths, witness line thicknesses, text height, what type of tolerance standards you want to use, all of those things can be set in the 3D part, and it's a different configuration file from something else, or not something else, from the 2D drawings. Okay, so just be wary of that. And then the last thing is the Creo View. So now you're capturing all that information within a 3D part. So how do you send that information out, and how do you ensure that the people seeing the information is the correct things? So there's things like 3D PDFs that you can use. That's not always 100% text and things like that. Symbols doesn't always go 100% through, but Creo View you can use, and you can be 100% sure that the third party can view the model with all the information. So there's a free version that you can download from the PTC website, and then there's a paid version. I'm going to use the NCAD version today. So there's one or two things that's extra in there, but I'll point that out as soon as I open up the Creo View for you guys. Okay, so let's go. We're going to do the questions and answers after I've done the demonstration. But if you would like to ask a question while I'm doing the demonstration, please go ahead, use the webinar interface for that. Ask those questions, and I'll just answer them after I've done with the demonstration. So just a quick slide on our training capabilities. So we do training virtually due to COVID restrictions. So if you need any virtual classes, we can accommodate you with that. We also do in-center, so you can come to our office, or we organize a center where everybody will meet up, and we can do that. And then we can also do on-site training. So the next in-center training will be on the 14th of April in Chicago. So you can either join that live, or you can join it virtually. So just get in touch with the training coordinators or the salespeople in the office, and they will get you all the paperwork and give you everything that's needed to go and do that training. Okay, so just a quick slide on my information. So if there's maybe a question you have that's not really applicable to today's topic, but you would like to ask me something or discuss that, please reach out to me. So there's my email address. Just drop me an email. If you need the sales, there's that. And then also remember to visit our YouTube channel. So all these webinars will be recorded and uploaded to the YouTube channel. So just go look for us there, do a search, and you should find us. All the previous webinars that we've done over the past few years are also on the YouTube channel. So make sure to go and browse through them. Okay, so I think that's from a slide point of view that I would like to show today. Let's jump into Creo, and let's look at this model-based definition stuff. Okay, so everything that you need to, or when you start with this, everything is under the Annotate tab. So I'll go through the interface, show you how to use that, and then I'll also prepare a few combination states just to show you what type of capabilities you can expect when using the tool. But before we go there, I just quickly want to show you the Model Properties tab, where you need to go and set those detailing options. So I'm just going to click on Change there. And if you've been setting drawing settings, you will notice that this is exactly the same as the normal drawing settings. Only difference here, this is now for the 3D model. So text height, arrow lengths, line thicknesses, all of that you can set as your defaults. Let's close that and let's quickly go through. Okay, so on our first combination state, so this is just our default combination state. So it's like the first sheet of your drawing. You get some information there, get some notes that you want to apply to a normal first sheet drawing. Then you can add it to a sitemap. So I can go and click on these, and that's going to take me to that specific sheet. So it's sort of like a link. For now, I'm just going to browse through them. Okay, so you will notice that these notes are all flat to screen. So it doesn't matter what I do with the model, those notes will always be flat to the screen. You'll notice that with some of the others, that's going to rotate with the part. So dimensions, tolerances, geometrical tolerances, things like that. You can set them to be flat to screen, and they're going to stay that way, but they would normally rotate with the component. So you would set a state at a certain orientation that's making sense to whatever information you want to apply to that state, and then go and add it accordingly. So you will also notice that you can report parameters like you would do in a normal drawing note. So if I pick on this and I go to text editor, let's make that just a little bit bigger for you guys. So you'll see the material, and then I report the PTC material name. So exactly the same as in 2D drawings. Any parameter that's listed in your part, you can report in notes and dimensions and things like that. Obviously, if something is not there, like the material ENG name parameter, then it's just going to show that. And I also don't have a finished parameter specified. So you can go and you can add those into the parameters, and then that information will be part of your note. You can also notice that I have the unit mass here and the density as well. Okay, I think my units are a little bit off here. And then if we go to another sheet, just more information regarding to the manufacturing side of the part. Then we've added some datums. With the geometrical tolerance. So those are type of things that you can add. Then some hole positions. The other hole positions. And you will notice these views, they will rotate with the component. So it's not set to flat to the screen. There's a certain orientation. So as soon as I'm going to do one sample now, and then we'll walk through the interface. More information. And then we also have a cross section in that one. Okay, so let's create something new, and then I'll walk you through the interface. So there's two ways that you can start off a new combination state. So you can either go your top left-hand corner and say create new, or here at the bottom you can click on the plus sign. Both of them will do exactly the same. So we're going to say new. You'll notice there's a new tab here at the bottom. So I'm just going to say rename that, and let's just call it web. Put that clock on. Let's call it web 1. Okay, and then you can take that one, you can drag it, and you can fit it within the other tabs where it makes sense to you. So what I would like to do is I would like to specify a note for this surface finish. So I'm going to pick that surface, and then I want a certain surface finish on that. Okay, so like I've mentioned, so if you want to place a note, you can do it flat to screen. And I'm just going to do that quickly. And this is just a standard note. And that was flat to screen, so you'll see that won't turn with the component. And then I have to select an annotation plane that I want to use. So I want to do this surface over here. So the front plane, you can see the green grid over there. That's not really where I want to place that. The top is making sense at the moment to place that. The right is not going to work for me. So I think I'm going to stick with the top annotation plane. You've noticed I've selected it and my part stays the same. So in some cases, you would like the part to orientate to whatever orientation you select. So if you go to the plane manager, there's a reorient model when set. So I can pick that. And if I say front now, that's going to jump to that orientation. If I say top, it's going to jump to that one, and so on. Right, so for this one, I want it a little bit in a 3D environment, so I'm not going to set that. I'm going to disable that quickly. But I want my dimension to sit, or my note to sit on the front. So I'm just going to, or on the top, I've set on the top. Okay, so I'm not going to position it like that. So I'm just going to say update that, and that means each time I go from one state to the other, it's going to be exactly the same way when I hit that update button. It's sort of recording that position. Okay, so let's go and let's create the note. So it's going to be for this surface. I picked the surface, and I'm just going to say sample note. Obviously, you can type in whatever you want in there. You can insert a note from file. So if you save those, you'll notice that this interface is almost exactly the same as your 2D environment. So if you go to drawings, it's going to be exactly the same. Okay, so you can add symbols, you can change the text height, you can change the font, you can make it bold, italic, or whatever you need to do with that. Exactly the same functionality you have in here. Okay, so one of the things when you're working with the 3D model is, okay, so I've selected that surface now, but if you pass that information on to a third party, they might think that, okay, so it's just this, just maybe this section over here. So how can they check what surfaces you actually selected? So one of those things is called the semantic query. So as soon as you highlight a note or dimension, it's going to tell you, okay, so those are the surfaces that's referenced to this note. Okay, so one thing that we need to change is this little T slot that we have in here. I want the same surface finish or whatever I wanted to specify in this note. I want that to apply to this as well. So let's quickly go and do that. So I'm going to pick the note. I'm going to go to references. I'm going to say set surfaces. I'm going to go details and I'm going to go add. And then I'm going to do a seed and boundary selection. I'm going to pick that. Now it's grabbing all of that information in one go. So you don't have to go and click a million surfaces over there. So use your seed and boundaries and your loop surfaces and things like that to make that picking a lot quicker and a lot easier. And okay. And that's fine. So if I go do the same query now, the guys that's inspecting this model will know, okay, so we want whatever I said in the sample note, that should apply to all these surfaces. Okay, so that's one way that you can do that. Then there's another way. Let's use this countable one. And I'm going to create a new state for that. And I'm just going to rename that. With countable, something like that. I'm just going to drag that. For some reason, I like my default at the end. And then I want to show these countable holes because I'm going to dimension that. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a note. So first thing we need to do is say, oh, I like that orientation. And now I'm going to use my front plane to place my dimension. And I'm going to go and I'm going to create the dimension. So normally in a 2D drawing, you won't fiddle around much with this. Normally the edge selection and the vertices selection will get you what you want. But we're working in a 3D part now. It's a little bit different. We can select surfaces and things like that. So if you expand it, you can select the surface. So I'm going to select surfaces, and I'm going to pick this one over here, and that's going to give me my radius dimension for that countable. Now, while that's still highlighted, you'll notice exactly the same as with your within the 2D drawings, you have a few options. You can go and add tolerances. So let's go and add the tolerance. So just the symmetric. And then I want to change this to a diameter. I'm going to sit like that. And then we have 4 counterballs here. But at the moment, if I use that semantic query, it's only showing the one. Okay, so the first thing that we can do is we can go and we can say, well, there's 4 of them, and all 4 of them should be the same. And once again, you can go and add symbols and things like that if you need to. I'm just going to keep it straight like that now. But now, again, I need to go and add those references. So I'm just going to go and add the surfaces. And now when you do that query, it's highlighting the surfaces that I picked. So the guy inspecting this model know that all 4 of these that's highlighted needs to be machined or manufactured within that tolerance and that size. If you take it one step further, you can also add geometrical tolerances to those dimensions. So if you pick the dimension, it's going to sit over there, and then you have the exact same interface as within the drawings. So you can go and add datum features. You can remove them if you want to. It all depends on what datum references you have available. Yeah, but that's how you would add geometrical tolerances, or you could just add it like you would do with a normal edge selection or whatever the case might be. So workflow is basically select your plane that you want to apply it to, front, top, right, back, or whatever makes sense for what information. Then go add your dimensions. If you're working with the Creo model, you can go and show those annotations exactly the same as with drawings. And then if you ever get lost on where you are with your plane selection, you can use the activate annotation plane, and that's going to orientate it to whatever plane you selected. So that all depends on what information or how you want that part to be orientated. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to show in this component. For the assemblies, just quickly going to open up one of the assemblies that I've done previously and just show you the interface, and the work method is exactly the same. So first thing, you have the same interface at the top. You're going to create it the same way. You need to specify your orientation planes, and then you can go and add your dimensions and tolerances and datum features. So let's just quickly scroll through this one. See what was added. So once again, you get all the parameters that you can pull through from your tools parameter options. Got your center of gravity, material, what finish should be used. You have all of that in here as well. I'm showing this parts list. This parts list was created with normal node functionality. So it's not like your repeat regions in the 2D drawing. So that is still a shortcoming on the annotation stuff within Creo. So before you start with assemblies, make sure that you, the ones that you do, that's applicable to the functionality that's currently available. So repeat regions and tables and things like that is not there yet. And again, we've got some datums we've created and some dimensions for the upper opening, and then we also have some information on the brackets. Okay, so for both assemblies and parts, if you need to send that information out, so what you'll do is you will go to File, Save a Copy, and then the type that you will send out is the PVZ. So all these file extensions are supported by Creo View, and use the PVZ one because then you know everything's going to be there. All your tabs at the bottom, all your orientations, all your symbols and things like that is going to be exported as well. So I've done one previously, and I've done the one for the part. So let's quickly go to Creo View. So you'll notice that I'm using the Creo View MCAD version. It's going to be exactly the same for the Express, the free one. You're going to go open. Let's just go to the part one. And if we're going to open up the PVZ file, And when it comes in, it looks a little bit messy, but that's because it's throwing the default one onto your screen. If you go and you select the right-hand, the viewable tab, you'll notice that you'll have all the tabs that you had at the bottom of your 3D part, you'll have them in Creo View as well. So there's our site, there's our titles, the properties, what material we've used, the additional notes we've added, the datums that we've added, the whole information, the base information, the countable information, and the other tabs as well. So from here in Creo View, there's a few things that you can do. So you can add markup things, you can do your own dimensions and things like that. So if there's a dimension that's missing, you're working with the actual component here. So you can go and you can measure the length. So if the designer missed something and the manufacturing guy needs certain information, you can use the free version to do that. What's not in the free version is the tools tab, where you can do things like design check. You can create explode states for your assemblies and things like that. So this markup one is there, and it's available for everybody to use to go and do some measurements of the components. Okay, so that's how you're going to get information from Creo to a third party. So let's quickly go and do the assembly. Okay, so I've noticed there's a few questions coming in. That's good. Keep them going. We'll discuss them after the demonstration. So in this assembly, what I would like to show is the weld symbols. That's a little bit different now. So as soon as you add your welds, it's gonna place it on an annotation tab for you. So I'm just quickly going to create a new one here at the bottom, and I'm just going to call it weld. Again, I'm going to drag it to where I want that to be. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a weld on this section over here. So first thing that I need to check is, do I have the correct orientation? So I'm going to put it on the back. And I'm going to add my fillet weld over here. So if we go to applications, I'm going to go to welding. It's going to say fillet weld. So well, this is my side 1. This is my side 2. And I'm going to drag this a little bit bigger, something that makes sense. You notice I'm working in millimeters. Okay, and then I have a few options that I want to set. I'm going to set my finish to grinding. I'm going to set my shape to convex. And then I can view my symbol. Okay, so there's my symbol. So you'll notice that it's the wrong way around now. So it's going to sit like that. So I'm going to show you a few tricks on how to change that. Okay, so you can go and you can add your symbols and you can change them. You can change the contact points where they need to show the attachments, like you would do with any normal drawing. So let's quickly go to the annotation tab. Let's change this. So if you highlight that, it's going to pick that. So let's just right click on that and say change orientation. So and this is the same for any dimension that you place or any note. If the orientation is wrong, you can just right click on it, go to the change orientation plane, and you can flip that around. You can change the text orientation or the rotation rather. Let's say if I want that at 90 degrees, I can do something like that. That makes sense. In this case, it doesn't. Let's update that. So now that is changed. So well, it's a little bit different in Creo 8 with the annotations and the so just keep that in mind. Let me just quickly have a look. Is there anything that I've missed that I wanted to show you guys today? I think on the welding, quickly want to edit definition just because I saw it's not showing up there. I think that's because I didn't set it to solid. Yeah, there we go. So I have layers that as soon as there's surfaces, it's hidden, and solids, obviously, that's not going to hide it. And then so you can edit attachments and things like that as well if you need to. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to show you guys. So I saw there's a few questions that came in, so I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to put my contact details on the screen. So if you rather reach out using email, then you feel free to do that. And then I'm quickly going to mute myself and get those questions in, and then I'll answer them. Okay, so the first question that came in is what version of Creo am I using? So I'm on Creo 8.0.2, and my Creo View version was also 8. And then the next question was, how do you handle showing annotations, GD&Ts on family table driven parts, obviously with large family tables? So I would say to that so because repeat regions are not part of the annotations at the moment in a 3D model, you have to be very careful how you drive that. If you have drawing sheets at the moment where you have a few views and a 2D repeat region that's growing in multiple directions, then 2D is still the way to go with that. I can add to that keep in mind that model-based definition is not there to replace 2D drawings completely. There will always be room for 2D drawings. Okay, so and family tables are still part of that. You can open up the family table instances and then add annotations to them where it makes sense. But that repeat region table that's not available in 3D annotations, that would make me stick to 2D drawings for family tables for a little while longer. Okay, and then the next one, what advice can you offer for global companies moving from model-based definition, things like training and standards? Standards appear very important. Okay, so for global companies, that means there's a lot of parts, there's a lot of drawings. I would say first, test the process. I've worked with some companies implementing model-based definition. It's still a new concept, or it's not that new concept, but it takes time to get everybody on board with it. So be careful how you approach it. Take a small project, test drive it, see where it's going to work for you. Check the standards that you need to that you currently have in your 2D drawings. Can you apply that in a 3D model? And then beware, there are people that still want the 2D drawing. They've learned how to read them. They read them pretty good. Moving away from that to 3D drawings or 3D parts, now all of a sudden they have to use Creo View to go and measure things or find information. So it's a different way of working. So test it. Make sure you are transparent in the process, or why you're doing it, what's the benefits and things like that. For standards and things like that, the basic things are covered in the 3D model, the ANSI standards, ISO standards, things like that. If you refer to that, I think the basic things are there, but I know there's customers that's tweaking that a little bit as well. So yeah, the only way that you can do that is take a small project, test drive it, or reach out to us at the office, say you want to implement this. We'll give you what type of training you need and what type of help you will need to implement that. So that process will normally, you will send us some information and we will review that with you. Okay. So the next one was about the Creo View in the combination state. So yes, I did show that. So all your combination states that you've created in your part will show in Creo View. So the next question, can you view the annotations in the part in Creo View by just opening the part file versus exporting the PVZ file? So no, all that information is not going to be in the part file. So Creo, that PVZ file is a specific file type, and that's how we take all that information and sort of exporting it to a different program that's accessible by a lot more users. If you use Creo View Express. So that's why we need the PVZ version in there. Okay, so the next question, how do you show the part assembly revision by parameter? So there's certain windshield parameters that's available in the parts. It all depends on the setup. So I'm not connected to windshield at the moment. I'm not sure if my parameters are there. So normally what happens, those parameters will be designated to windshield, which means each time you check it in or check it out, that parameter will be updated. So it's exactly the same way as you would report any other parameter. Just make sure it's in your parameters list, and then in the note, just add the ampersand and the parameter name, and then that should pull it through. If you have any issues with the revision parameters and things like that, drop us an email or send us a sample part, and we can quickly help you with that. Okay, so just quickly, once again, my contact information, if you need that, take a screenshot of that if you want to. And then we've got one more question. Also, the third party is able to extract the 3D model from the model-based definition file received. No, I don't think he can take this and save it as a 3D model. Let's see, save as. So you can only save as PVZ again. So he's only got this information. So it's not the same as a step file or an IGES file or anything like that. But what he can do is he can measure everything in here. So he can go and if you are concerned about intellectual property, then he can go and he can measure the whole distances from each other, and he can get pretty close. But obviously, things like this shape, he won't be able to go and draw that up and use that in a third-party application. So very safe to send information using PVZ files and using Creo View. No, certainly not. I don't think that's possible. I'm going to make a note of that one and just confirm with the Creo View experts as well. So I will reach out to you guys and let you know if my answer is wrong. If I am wrong, I will reach out. But for now, my answer is no, they can't use it. So, yes. So the step file must be sent from Creo. So if you want to send that as a step file, you have to go in here and go and say File, save a copy, and then you can set your step file in here. You can't do that in Creo View. So Creo View is just there for the information that was captured, and then to review that and make markups and things like that, either outside of the organization or inside of the organization. And then again, here's my contact information. So if you want to have a discussion around one of the questions I had, or you think about something else during the day or in the next few days, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Either myself or any of the other experts at PDSVISION should be able to assist. Okay, so I don't see any other questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. Thank you guys for joining us today. Remember to go and view our YouTube page, and you'll find the recordings there for all the webinars that we've done before. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.